I began this series on being an everyday prophet with a story about my grandparents. It feels right that it should end with another. Now, Nan Oates, born Winifred Moores, but always known as Molly, lived her truth and faith in narrative. Some stories we knew almost as well as she did because she's told them so often, but then she could always surprise us with a new one. We shared an abiding love for Labrador. Now, Labrador is one of those places that once it claims your heart, there's a part of your soul which longs to go back and yet is always there. And she spent much time there with her father. And it was also the last place I served before I came over here. Now, when I was there was an air base there where the RAF and the Canadians and the Dutch and the Italians and the German Air Force trained. And in talking about that, she shared a story which had been untold about her father, my great grandfather Moores. It started like this. Not all them Germans were bad, you know. Now, your great grandfather, he was in the Merchant Navy, and he was on ship going into New York and got torpedoed. And the German officer, the captain, tall, correct, proud, came on deck and promised that they would have time to get into their lifeboats and that he would guide them into the harbor and into safety. Now, just then, the dog appeared on deck. My father looked at the captain and thought, well, surely he's not going to let a poor defenseless animal drown. And no, he didn't. He told your great grandfather to go back, get the dog, which he did. And then they guided all those little lifeboats until they were safe into the harbor. Now, there were no verifiable historical facts, like which war or what was the name of either ship. Even a date would have been helpful. But none of that mattered to Nan. For Nan, it was the truth of the story. And the truth is, to paraphrase Joshua 24, will you and your house, will you serve the Lord? Will you be a spokesperson for God and for God's way? Whether it be in the everyday of pandemic or war or joy or plenty, with friends, strangers, and even enemies, that invitation is before us. You see, this is a truth story. It is historically accurate as well. Dad and aunties and uncles filled in the blanks for me. But in one sense, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to Nan and it doesn't matter to me. It is the truth of the story which matters. To embrace God's way, to embrace liberating love is to be about hope in the most desperate of times and the most joyous of times. And that is what it means to be an everyday prophet and a spokesperson for God. Now, when I went back to Labrador after that visit home and met up with people in the German Air Force, there was a part of me that wondered, did your ancestor enable my ancestor to live? Are we linked by strangers who, even in the brokenness of war, witness to another way? I don't know. And I will never know in this world, but I will in the one to come. Make no doubt, to embrace the ways of God's justice love reverberates through the ages. No act of justice love is ever lost. Be gentle with yourselves and with one another. Stay safe.